everybody. Welcome to Ticket Stubs and Popcorn. You know the show. Hopefully you're familiar with us by now.
Hopefully. Right?
Hopefully. Today's featured performer is Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, she's fantastic.
She is fantastic.
Hey, I'm going to interrupt you. Yes, you're Peter. I'm Frank. I'm going to ask him a question now before he can ask me some obnoxious, obscure question. It's just kind of what we do. Anyway, like and subscribe, like it says along the bottom.
And subscribe.
All right. Here it is.
What's the question?
So, I want to call this back to the minors. Well, not minors necessarily. All right. Give me a TV, someone who is sort of generally known as a TV actor, and they got their big break. They made their swap. They made their jump into movies.
Oh, they've gone over.
But it didn't quite work out.
Okay.
That you're just you know what?
For whatever reason, they were successful in TV.
Yeah, and then they either just
kind
of faded away or they went back to doing TV. Again, not that there's anything wrong with that.
No.
It's fine.
It's a career.
Because, especially now, because TV, there is so much
the production in TV is much bigger.
But there are some actors out there that had a couple of movies and just just not
for whatever reason.
For whatever reason, yeah. So think about that.
I'll think about that.
I'm going to prattle on a little bit about, what's her name? Scarlett Johansson?
Scarlett Johansson.
Ah, yes. She is, she's fantastic. I like her quite a bit.
I do too.
And I'm not even going to mention Black Widow at all.
Okay.
I'm not going to mention any of her Black Widow stuff because she's got another body of work out there that I think is... I don't want to say just as good as Black Widow because, I don't know, because it's just different, more kind of dramatic stuff.
Yeah.
I want to start with the movie Her.
Very good.
Remember that with
that was my fourth.
Phoenix?
That was my fourth.
Oh,
movie.
really? Yeah.
It didn't quite make it, but I'm glad you picked it.
It's so great because it's that kind of a weird thing where it's not an animated movie. But all she gets to do is use her voice.
Use her voice, yeah.
And it's fantastic. She does so much with just her voice.
Yeah.
That it creates a character, and she feels real, and she feels as real to us as a viewer as I think she does to Joaquin Phoenix's character.
Exactly.
And even though you know that, she's talking to a billion other users of this software program, she does have a sense of individually. Mm-hmm. And I just think it's a great bit of voice work. I think that... I
do too.
I think that animated movies, obviously, you can focus on voice work, but something like this, which is a weird thing where she's not in it. I mean, her face, you don't see her at all.
Nope.
But it is...
it's a disembodied voice.
Yeah,
it's
completely.
It's not a character animated, right?
It's fantastic. It's such a great role. She adds so much nuance to this character. And she's playful, and she's funny, and she's serious, and she's just... It's just they don't give her a lot to work with, I think, because it is just the voice. So it must be difficult for her to just... She can't use the rest of her actor tools where she can use body language in her face and stuff, where it's got to all come just from her voice. And I think that really highlights, her talent. She has such a distinctive voice that it really does. It's an amazing job.
Yeah, you pick up right away who this actor is.
Oh, yeah.
Because of her voice. But I think you also hit upon it really, because when she's believable to us, but when you see the Joaquin Phoenix character really buying into her, that helps us along even more so.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Most definitely. My next Scarlett Johansson will be Marriage Story.
Okay.
Did you ever see that?
Fairly recent, yeah.
Yep. Unbelievable. Mm-hmm. So good. So just, it's really, It's really too bad. I think that the Marvel movies, while probably, giving her a lot more exposure and definitely helping out her bank account, I think that it does a slight disservice to not just Scarlett Johansson, but I think anybody in any of those movies. There's such a time commitment, and to find the time and the energy to do other roles and really put a lot into those other roles, I think it's got to be extremely challenging. And for her to be able to do what she did with Marriage Story, I think it was just phenomenal. I defy anyone to take a side in that movie, because both characters, they're both very real people. And there's that scene toward the end where they're just going back and forth at each other. It was the epitome of how arguments in a marriage happen, because it just sort of, it builds and it builds, and it's not an argument necessarily about anything, but it's an argument that is fueled by
been built up
years and years of disappointment and anger and fear and all this stuff.
Choices.
Exactly. And it's just so well done. I give Adam Driver a lot of credit for that too, but we're talking about ScarJo, so it's so well done, so well acted, and it's such a realism to that, and you really you feel for these people. If these were real people and friends of yours in real life, you'd be just like, damn, they are really going through it. And it's and for her to be able to bring that kind of performance.
And as you say too, it's tough. It's tough to say, "Oh, I'm siding with this." No, you
really can't. And that's I really think it's a testament to the actors in that movie, as well as the director, blah blah blah, collaborative effort and all that stuff. But I was really, really surprised, quite frankly, by that portrayal, because otherwise, aside from the Marvel stuff, what else have we? When she was younger, she did, a couple of more dramatic things. You saw her in like Ghost World and stuff like that. But things that were less spectacular, like a Marvel movie. But when else did you really get to see her doing anything that was dramatic, real person? Otherwise, you've got Ghost in the Shell.
The other thing too about the Marvel movies is that you never really stand alone too much in the Marvel universe. There's always going to be a villain or villains, but in the case of like Avengers and some of these other ones, there's a lot of people involved.
A lot of people, and I think that some of her best work in the Avengers stuff was when she's on the cliff there, and trying to get the Soul Stone, and when she's after everybody is when she's talking to Cap about everybody who's disappeared and stuff like that. And when it's just those two, and she's talking about just how she feels about having a family now, and you see some of that vulnerability for that character. Some as good acting work as one can get in such a movie. So I just think that was great too. My last one for Scarlett Johansson, I think, would be Hail Caesar.
Okay.
Where she plays, and it's great because she gets to play with an accent a little bit. And it's a little bit more farcical.
It's a Coen Brothers movie. Yeah,
exactly. So she gets to be big and over the top and silly and funny, and she's got the accent that I can't even really do. And it's just like, oh my God, she can be funny, because you never really see her being funny. But to show that she's got some comedy chops in there is, again, really refreshing. And that's what I think I like about her in general. Again, there's a body of work with the whole Avengers stuff, with the Marvel stuff, and then there's all of her other stuff where she gets to do other things, and to see her be funny in a Coen Brothers movie was really, really refreshing. And I'm kind of glad in a way that her Marvel stuff is done. I mean, they've got the Black Widow movie coming out at some point.
Right.
But I'm looking forward to seeing what she does next.
Actually, it's interesting when we're talking about Scarlett Johansson, but when you talk about the Marvel movies, it's going to be interesting to see where many of those actors are going to go next.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's a great little job to have. It's a great thing that you can play a comic book, superhero, but it's going to be interesting to see where they go.
Well, it'll be really interesting with actors like Chris Hemsworth, who wasn't doing a ton of stuff before this.
Right.
But like Mark Ruffalo, he was busy before.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr., he's had his ups and downs.
Yeah.
But he's got the Sherlock Holmes franchise that I think is going to continue. So I mean, he'll be busy. But I think that it's been a great springboard for other actors whom we only know through the Marvel stuff. It'll be really interesting to see.
We only know them that way, yeah.
Now that they're done with the Marvel stuff, what will they go on and do next? So yeah, that's my Scarlett Johansson stuff. So
very good.
Hey everybody, before Peter, rambles.
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows what he's going to say? If you could like and subscribe, that would be great. We really appreciate that. Yeah, I'm thinking of moving that.
I agree.
It's just weird. Anyway, so who do you got?
A little less sabotage there. Just gotta go the wrong way.
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson. Okay.
Go.
I always enjoyed her work. Just good. And as you said, if you take her out of the Marvel universe or go a little earlier, we'll say, there's some good work there.
Yeah.
Good work. And one, I know I've mentioned this movie previously when we were doing Bill Murray, Lost in Translation. That's one of my
that would have been my
picks.
Fourth.
Yeah, that's one of my picks, and it's just it's a great movie. It's a great performance, and you really get that sense of lost in this movie. Yeah. It's all of a sudden her new or fairly recent husband is busy, and that's why she's tagging along, and she's in Japan.
She's kind of adrift. Poor thing.
She definitely is rudderless. It's like, and then she's, there's for a lot of reasons, she's in a foreign country, completely alien culture to her. She's suffering from insomnia brought about by the jet lag, so everything is just off. Her feet aren't really on the ground much. She's just out of step with everything, and it just works so well in the movie. Opposite Bill Murray, it works on every level, and I just think she's phenomenal in that movie. You really get the sense of, in her specific case, she's younger. You really get this lost young person, uncertain about a lot of stuff, and a lot of it has to do with her relationship. We'll just call her a newlywed.
Yeah.
That whole thing is different because now there's not a normal.
They don't have
married dynamic going on at all because he's on these photo shoots that are 18 hours or 20 hours long, so he's just kind of checking in every once in a while, almost as if he's checking into the hotel room. He's just not, I love that performance. I think she's fantastic in that movie. So that's one of my picks. That would be the first one.
That's a good one.
First one I'm coming up with. Another one, a second one would be Matchpoint. And a little bit of and actually in that movie, she's also in a foreign country, but at least an English-speaking country. So she's in the UK. And she's definitely an American. And so I think we see we see maybe how the Brits might be looking at her too. She's not on the same social strata as the group that she's traveling with, living. So she's kind of aspiring to a little something different, a little social climber. She's definitely a social climber. She's trying to, she wants to date in this other level, this other social status sort of a thing. And that one's a good one, because that one is not, it happens to be a Woody Allen movie, but it is straight drama, no comedy at all.
It's not movie. It's a movie it's a film by Woody Allen, but it's not a Woody Allen movie.
There's no comedy at all. It's nothing really. It's serious. And, she's out to try to marry up in the world. Mm. And there's definitely a downside, but it ties into the plot and how there's twists in there. So I don't want to say too much other than watch the movie. But she's very good in that one, and that was straight drama, no question about it. And she's still young. She's definitely one of her earlier ones, but excellent. I just love it. It's a good, solid movie with a lot of other performers in there, but she's very good in that one. So that one I love Match Point. My third one would be just a coincidence. This one happens to be a Woody Allen movie, but it's a comedy, and that would be Scoop. And we've talked a little bit about when there's a Woody Allen movie and sometimes Woody is not in it or he's too old, there will be a male character, a male actor doing
the Woody Allen
character.
Yeah.
So, and we've talked a little bit about this one, but this one might be the only time, I think it's the only case that I can think of where she's actually playing the female Woody character. And so it's kind of refreshing to see that little aspect. She's not stupid in the movie, but she's not the brightest bulb either.
Which is fine, because that's pretty much the Woody Allen.
No, exactly. They're a little bit of a loser.
Yeah.
Good-natured. And in this one, she's an American journalism student. And, she has a chance of having a scoop. Oh, what a great name for a movie. We'll call it a scoop. Yeah, we'll call it Scoop. So she has a chance of this scoop, which comes to her by a dead person. So it's got this weird other little vibe, which adds to the comedy and this sort of thing. But it's just, I enjoy it because, like I said, it's like a female version of the Woody Allen character. And the other thing I like about the movie is Woody Allen, the director and the writer, realizes I'm too old for the female lead. So he ends up being the father figure, not a romantic thing. So that was a pleasant thing too. So, and he's still himself. He's still this bumbling magician trying to, he's still acting as if it's the 50s with this Borscht Belt kind of humor, intro, boom, boom, like that. So even his offstage performance is the same thing. Hey, you're a great looking crowd. Like he's just talking to people like that all the time. But Scarlett Johansson character in that one's a good one. She's kind of like a lovable loser. And that's it's comedy, but that's a side that we hadn't seen of her before. And it's great. I think there's a line in there where they have to try to, they think they know, or she's convinced the Woody Allen character that she knows something about a murder or a series of murders, and she's going to try to investigate.
Yeah.
So they're kind of bumbling their way around, and so they're trying to figure out how are they going to try to infiltrate and try to investigate and all this stuff. And so the Woody Allen character says something like, "We got to put our heads together." And she realizes he's not the brightest bulb. She knows she's not the brightest bulb. And so her answer is, if we put our heads together, we're going to make a hollow sound. That's just a funny little line. But they like know where they're at in life.
That's funny.
Yeah. And so it's a good one. It's cutesy, but I like the performance. So that was my third one. And I'm glad you picked her as one of yours, because that was my fourth one, and I'm like, oh, it's so close. It's so close.
Good. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So, folks, you're gonna like and subscribe while I think about what his three were, even though I just heard them. It was Matchpoint and Scoop and
Don't Be Lost.
Oh, Lost in Translation.
There we go.
What's the matter with me?
And
so
you had what did you have? You had Her, and you had Marriage Story.
Yeah.
And you had, no, you didn't pick a Marvel one.
No.
Gonna help me at all?
No.
Didn't think so.
No.
You had.
Come on. You can do it.
Yeah. Maybe I can and maybe I can't.
All right. How about Hail Caesar?
Hail Caesar.
Yes.
The Coen Brothers movie. Man,
anyway.
God.
Yeah, I know. Right?
Well, I didn't forget about it. I momentarily had a lapse of.
All right. So, TV person.
TV person.
Yeah.
So this one's to me, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought about, or tried to think about it in the time, and of course I couldn't even come up with your third movie. So I'll see how I'm doing with this one. This one, there's a person who has definitely had a phenomenal TV career, very successful in, we'll say, 2.5 series of hers, very successful, and a lot of other TV appearances.
Okay, I'm curious.
Julie Louis-Dreyfus.
Julie Louis-Dreyfus.
Because the New Adventures of Old Christine was good, but it wasn't as big as, say, Veep or as Seinfeld.
And it didn't really get a chance. That show, she was actually pretty funny.
She was great in that series. So she had a really very big TV presence.
What? I can't think of her in the, what movies?
All right, she's in, what was she in? Deconstructing Harry, which is another Woody Allen movie.
What is it with Woody Allen movies?
I don't know, but they're coming to my head. So she's in that one, and she's very good in the movie.
Okay.
And then she's in North, which was a terrible movie. And she was in, I'm not sure if I'm going to come up with the title. The one with James Gandolfini.
I can't think of the name.
She's
came out after he died. I think it was his
last
movie.
It was the last movie I think that came out.
Movie.
She's a masseuse.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I know the movie. I cannot
not say anything.
No,
that's not it. But it's something that sounds like that.
Yeah, I know the movie you're talking about. I just cannot think of the name.
I can't either.
That's okay. When
I
edit this episode, I'll put a post
so she's had some movies
right there.
Yeah, she's had some performances in movies, and you would think that she would be in a lot more movies.
Yeah, I mean, I could understand.
And it just never. I'm not sure exactly why it's not panning out, but on TV, it's hard not to love her. It's hard not to see something that she's in where you go, oh, she's great.
I think that, but James Gandolfini one, that was a huge role.
That was a big role.
Started in that. that. So,
Oh, yeah,
but
definitely.
and that's kind of what I meant when I asked the question, like who the other stuff, like
Yeah, like I can't put my finger
Harry.
on why she isn't bigger.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
In the movies.
In the movies, right.
And there's such a fine line.
Now it's definitely a fine line.
There's so many things.
So that I thought of her as like I'm not going to say, oh, she's a classic TV personality, but she is in a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
But for whatever reason, a reason I can't put my finger on why she doesn't have a bigger presence, we'll say, on the big screen.
I think,
as they used to say.
Yeah, I don't know. Mine would be Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck, yeah.
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 He was huge TV.
Oh,
he's had
sure.
a couple of TV, and you know, we had the like 3 Men and a Baby thing, and then there was a sequel to that. So it's just like, oh, Tom Selleck's on his way to being a movie guy. And then you have that kind of adventure-y one, Quigley Down Under or something
Quigley
like
Down
that.
Under.
So it's just like, all right, he's on that move, that what at the time.
Did a prison movie too, right? He was like wrongly
yeah, that sounds familiar.
I can't tell you the name of it.
But it seems to be that, well, I mean, a while ago there was that, you know, you do well in TV, you make the transition.
You can graduate. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like Bruce Willis did
definitely
it.
was.
George Clooney did it.
Yeah.
A whole host of people.
Oh,
Viola
sure.
Davis done it. I mean, she's still doing that.
The whole show. Idea too of from my recollection, the whole idea of Saturday Night Live, that group, they were originally billed as the not ready for primetime players. That's what they were. And the whole idea was you do your stuff. You get there, you do skit, comedy, and sketch. You know, you just do that stuff. And then you're going to get a big thing, and maybe you'll get to be a bigger star.
Yeah. But even
so many of those people were able to like either get off the show and do something else, and a lot of them were like kind of dipping their toe into movies and stuff happening.
But I wouldn't call them TV stars.
No,
the same way that you would
they
call
like kind of graduated.
Julie Louis-Dreyfus.
No, I agree. But the idea was the same thing of like you graduated, and it's not a fair thing to say now, because the lines are blurred. But then there was this big dichotomy. There was a TV personality and there was a movie personality.
And then if you were
first
big in movies,
and then
because there's always references to now she's doing a movie of the week kind of thing. Oh, then she's on Love Boat, and then she dies. So so that's really interesting. Julie Louis-Dreyfus. Yeah, mine would be Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck,
yeah.
Because even he started doing some. Oh boy, I can't think of the name. I'll think of it. It was a Robert B. Parker character, not Spencer, but a little in that vein.
Yeah.
And so Tom Stone, Josh Stone, Jesse Stone. Jesse Stone, I think that's the name. And he played a couple of those characters, but those were actually made for TV movies.
Yeah,
so they never went.
Yeah,
so like he wasn't making it on the big screen, so then they made these movies for the small,
but the thing is,
for TV.
I think that nowadays
that goes
those
back
made for TV movies, things would be picked up by like Netflix.
Oh yeah. Now it's a whole different game.
Yeah, it's a whole different game now. So
so Tom Selleck.
Yeah. Because he had the movie thing, and then now he's doing television again.
Blue Bloods.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, folks, that's Scarlett Johansson for you. That's what we think. And so
like and subscribe. Hopefully,
that whole.
You'll give us some ideas about maybe comments, whatever.
I'm gonna do this one.
Who you got? We got some good. Well, they're all good.
No, they're not. All right.
They're not.
That's cool.
Yes, I am happy. I can make this one work for sure.
Oh, good. He can make it work.
I can make it work. That's
all right,
that
folks.
Matters.
So, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. This was Ticket Stubs and Popcorn. He just wants to wave goodbye.
I just want to wave, guys.
So goodbye.
Take care.
Bye.